welcome to a special BriefingsDirect podcast series coming to you from the 2015 Ariba LIVE Conference in Las Vegas. We're here the week of April 6th to explore the future of business commerce. We'll learn how innovative companies are tapping into business networks to harness the power of communities to discover, connect, and collaborate with peers and partners across the street or around the globe. Not only are these leaders better managing their spend and buyer-seller interactions, they're also gleaning insights and intelligence to learn from the past, capitalize on the present, and chart an effective course for the future, all in real time from a single platform. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at InterArbor Solutions, your host throughout this series of Ariba-sponsored BriefingsDirect discussions. Our next interview examines the future of commerce as seen by Ariba and provides a view into the innovations the company has planned for 2015 and beyond. Walking us through the Ariba product roadmap, we're here and joined by Chris Hayden, the Senior Vice President of Product Management at Ariba, an SAP company. Welcome back to BriefingsDirect, Chris.
Thanks, Dana. Nice to be here.
Well, here we are yet another year. Before we get to the Ariba news, what do you see as having changed or developed or evolved over the past year or so in the business network market?
Yeah, no, it's been a very interesting year and a lot of learning and adoption for sure. I think there's a growing realization in companies, leading practice, and even in others that this network economy is here to stay, and you can no longer remain within the four walls of your firewall or of your business, and it really is about understanding that you are part of multiple business networks, not just a business network, business networks for finance, business networks for procurement, and so on and so forth. And really, how do you leverage and harness those business networks to make your businesses more effective?
So it's incumbent upon companies to take advantage of all these different networks and services, the data and analysis that's driven from them, but at the same time, they need to retain simplicity. They need to make their users comfortable with this technology. They need to move towards a mobile interface. How do we balance the need for expansion amid complexity with simplicity and good, solid process?
Yeah, it's a difficult balance. There's a couple ways to think about it. As well, just to pick up on the point on how businesses are changing, certainly the end user expectation is dramatically changing. Whether it's the millennials coming into the workforce, just the nature of apps, if you like, mobile apps in our personal lives, driving the need, the requirement, the desire to have that in our business lives. And I think what we're looking to do, again, is from an Ariba perspective, one part of our philosophies is we believe our job is to manage the complexity for our customers. That's the value prop that people sign into. And so how we look at that, again, is when we talk about from a usability perspective managing the complexity, it's also about thinking about the individual persona or how the end user really needs to interact to get the work done, and how they can learn and how they can use their different devices to work where they want and how they want.
It seems to me that among the technology leaps that we're making in order to accommodate this balance is a greater reliance on the network, network-centric attributes, intelligence even driven into the network. How do you view the role of the network in this balance?
Oh, well, I think it's fundamental, and I think it's and we're definitely seeing it almost as a tipping point, right? It's no longer just about the transactions. It's about the trusted relationships. It's about visibility into the extended, value chain. Whether that value chain is a supply chain or a financial payment chain or a logistics chain, it doesn't matter what that process change or that value change is. It really means is that insight into that trusted community. So you understand that it's secure, that it's scalable, and also that it's reliable. And repeatable.
It seems like we can put the word hybrid in front of so much these days. Hybrid cloud, hybrid apps, hybrid networks, crossing that chasm. The network is really the arbiter and the governor for a lot of that ability to do that. Tell us a little bit about why Hana, SAP Hana, is so important to this network tipping point. Many people think of Hana as a big data platform, but it's quite a bit more.
Yeah, it is. I mean, in Ariba, we've made some great strides on leveraging the Hana technology, first with our spend visibility program. And I think what the great message, and we think about Hana, is it's not Hana for technology's sake. It's how Hana enables different business outcomes. And really, that's the exciting thing. And so whether on the Ariba network, whether we start on our analytical platform and have an average of 50x or 80x average improvement in terms of some of the reports, that's great. What was really interesting when we put Hana onto our spend visibility was we got more users doing different types of reports because they could do this, because they could iterate, because they could change, because they could experiment, right, if you like, in a more interactive and a faster way. We saw upticks in the behavior of how customers use our products. And that's the excitement of Hana. Taking it to the next step as we look to put Hana across our network and our other applications in terms of better and different types of reportings, but in terms of the network and having real-time visibility in insights from our trusted community. It's just going to provide a differential level of value to any of the end users, whether they're a buyer, seller, or any of our partners.
So we're leveraging the ability of a strong platform like Hana to give us analytics and other strong value adds, but we also need to bring that single platform, single pane of glass value to the mobile device. So user experience seems to be super important. Tell us a little bit about where you're heading with that, and perhaps introduce us to SAP Fiori.
Yeah, well, great question, Dana, and certainly a massive focus for us from an innovation perspective, but also just listening to our customers and working through it. So when we think about our user experience, it's not just about the user interface, albeit a very important part. It is also the total experience that an end user, that a company has with the Ariba suite and business network. So let's start first. Fiori is an excellent user interface design paradigm that SAP has led. And we are looking to and have adopted Fiori elements and design paradigms within our applications, whether it's our mobile applications as well as our desktop applications. And you will see a vastly updated user interface based on Fiori design principles coming out in the summer. And we'll be announcing that here at Ariba Live and taking to our customers some really interesting demos. But linking that, as you mentioned earlier, it's not just about the user experience. It's really about how we're end users. And we call them personas from a product perspective, right? You're an accounts payable, you're a purchasing officer, that's your hat you wear. And so it really is about how you link where you work, right? Work anywhere. Embracing modern design principles and learning across the whole user experience. And so we've got some interesting approaches for our mobile device. So let me talk about the crossover there. We'll be launching and showing a new mobile app. We launched our mobile app earlier this year for our Ariba Procurement Suite. Had some great uptick first week. 20% of our customers activated and rolled it out to some of their end users. It's progressively scaling, but again, that's the power of a mobile delivery. It shows the untapped demand, the untapped potential of how end users do and can and want to interact, with business applications today. But at Ariba Live, we'll be also announcing a brand new application to enable shopping cart adding. Searching for the casual ad hoc end user so they can actually do their requisitioning and their ordering of their contract items or ad hoc items wherever they are. To finish off, also just as excitingly, we're really looking to leverage the mobile device and take its abilities to create new user experience design paradigms. And let me give you an example of what that means. Let's just say you're an accounts payable clerk, and you're a very conscientious accounts payable clerk. You're on the bus on the way to work, and you've got a lot of invoices to process. And so, for example, you might want to say, hey, I need to process my invoice from Acme Inc. before I do it from, my next supplier. So what you do is on your mobile device, you can't obviously process detailed information about an invoice, but you can certainly put it in your queue. Put that in your queue. When you get to your desktop, there it is at the top of your queue to do. And then when you finish the work, maybe you want to push a report on just saying, how did I do today? And that, how did I do today? I did X things, I did Y things, and have that on your mobile device on the train on the way home. That's the kind of continuity construct that we're bringing in and making the user experience, again, about learning and about working where you are.
Before we go into the list of things that you're doing for 2015, let's tie this discussion at the high level about network economy, power network and intelligence driven in the network, the user interface, with this all-important behavioral aspect of users wanting to use these technologies. So one of the things that's been interesting for me at Ariba Live is I'm learning that user productivity is the go-to-market, that the pull of users that say, we want these apps. We don't want the old-fashioned way. We want to be able to do some work on the train ride home and have notifications that allow us to push a business process forward or send it back. So how do you see the future of the total technology mix coming to bear on that user productivity in such a way that they're actually going to demand these capabilities from their employers?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a great question. Let's just use the example of a chief procurement officer, okay? Chief procurement officers, have obviously the old classic, if you like, standard benefits of, the total cost of ownership and cost reduction and price reductions. But more and more chief procurement officers also realize that their primary, they have internal customers, they're end users. And if the end users cannot adopt the systems and comply with the systems, what's the point? And so you're just getting, to your point, it was an excellent thing. We're seeing actually the pull or the push, depending on your point of view, straight from the end user, straight through to the end of line outcome. And I think that from an Ariba perspective, how this all comes together really is a couple of things. Really that user design interactions are foremost in our design thinking approaches, and how these different user design interactions really make our products have to do different things and work together. I think it also has some great impact on our platform, and this is why, with SAP and Hana Cloud Platform, gives us a differential way to address these problems. One of these aspects here is to keep up with these demands out of, not necessarily out of left field, but out of specific market or industry requirements. We need to make sure that we can expand our ecosystem from an Ariba perspective to encompass partners and even customers doing their own things with our platform that we don't even know about. And so some specific investments with HANA and the HANA Cloud Platform to make our network more open, and also looking at some targeted extensibility scenarios for our applications.
Great. Let's go to the roadmap for 2015, Ariba products. Let's start with spend management. What's going on there?
Yeah, well, we have, a wealth of capabilities and products and new innovations we're bringing to market. Just note, 2014, we brought more than 330-odd significant features to market, almost one a day. So we've delivered a lot of innovation. 89% of those as well were delivered, and this is important to our ongoing roadmap because we're cloud, because we work with our customers in their own on-demand environment, and they entrust their business processes to us. We're delivering more and more features in toggle mode or configured on or configured off, so letting our end users and our customers consume our innovation when they can, even though it's intrinsic to the product. So that's one big improvement we made in 2014, and we want to carry through in 2015. In terms of spend management, again, got some great new investment in Ariba. So SAP continues to invest in Ariba, so we continue to churn out more innovation. And we have some innovation from enhancing some capabilities to support public sector. We're extending in globalization capabilities. We're adding specific functionality to improve the security, the encryption of our applications, and then some more targeted features, whether it's improving demand aggregation for our procurement applications, whether it's supporting large line levels in our sourcing and contract management applications, or whether it's improving our catalog searching capabilities with type ahead and improved content and publishing management. It's really a complete raft end to end.
All right, there's sort of four buckets within the spend management. There's indirect, there's contingent labor, direct and supply chain management issues, and then the new big one was the Concur acquisition, travel and expense. Anything new to offer on understanding better spend management, better spend visibility across these buckets?
Yes, of course. Look, when we work with our customers, and we've got, with the 15-odd years transactional history on the Ariba network, and we have a look at that in conjunction with our customers, we see these big, if you like, four major spend segments. Indirect and MRO, as you mentioned, supply chain and direct, and services and contingent labor, and, of course, T&E. And, of course, the distribution of that spend type changes per industry. But what we're really focused on making sure that we can get end-to-end outcomes for our customers, right, across the source-to-pay process. And so what you can see across all of those differential aspects, and I'll touch through them in turn. In indirect MRO, we're just continuing to drive deeper. We really want to address specific features there in terms of compliance and greater spend categories there, specifically with spot buy, which really is a product we're out there trialing with a number of customers right now to really get after the tail spend. In contingents and services management, we've done some excellent work integrating the Ariba platform with the Fieldglass platform, made some, huge strides there and linking purchase orders into the Fieldglass platform, let Fieldglass do what they do great, number one market leader there, and bring the invoices back to the network, all with a common adapter. In terms of direct and logistics and supply chain, we've brought to market, like we mentioned last year, some direct material supply chain capability, co-innovating with a number of customers right now, added subcontracting PO for complex scenarios in the summer, done some great work in extending the capability to support consumer package and retail suppliers. So we've done some really interesting strides, and again, expanding the spend categories that we can support on there. And last but not least, Concur, right? Number one, travel. Just really excited to have that part of the family. I think, again, from an SAP perspective, when you look at total spend, just an unparalleled capability to manage any spend segment. And we're working pretty close with Concur to ensure that we have, tight integration and work out how we can leverage specifically first off the rank is their invoicing capability to complement Ariba's.
Line of business applications. One of the things that's intrigued me here in hearing your story unfold is this no middleware yet expansive integration, end-to-end integration across business processes and data. So in this line of business category, explain to me how you can be so inclusive, leveraging the technology. How does that work?
Yeah, so let me unpack that a little bit. A resounding message from our customers, particularly since the acquisition, is, we need, require, want, demand, rightly so, seamless, simpler integration between your cloud applications and our current applications, whether they be on-premise. Now, specifically for our SAP client set, and I'll talk about our Oracle and other client set in a little bit more, but specifically for our SAP ERP systems, we've really worked hand in glove with our, on-premise business suite partners, and ensured with the concept of, from specifically for business networks, how do we move from integrate to activate? And so what we brought to market pretty significantly with the business suite is the ability for any SAP business suite customer to download an add-on that basically gives them, connectivity to the Ariba network out of the box. And we can continue to invest in that with S4 Hana upcoming. We're planning to have native connectivity to the Ariba network as part of just a standard feature, if you like, of S4 Hana. And then for our other customers, the Oracle customers and other major ERP systems out there, we continue to invest in open adapters to enable their procurement and finance processes across the network or with any of our cloud applications.
Very good. Something that's always important. We leave it to the end, but we probably shouldn't. Risk management. It seems to me that you're building more inherent risk management features inside these applications and processes, yet another function of the technology when you have great network-centric capabilities and a solid single platform to work from. you can start to do this. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, this is a really exciting and emerging area. More and more leading practice companies are starting to manage their procurement and their supply chains, truly from a risk basis. The risk, the continuity of supply, security of supply. What happens if X? What happens at Y? You are your supply chain. If there's some, heaven forbid, some, contamination or whatever, or traceability issue somewhere in your supply chain, and you're a large company or even a small company, now you're held accountable. And so how do we start helping companies understand the risk that exists, within their supply chain? And we think the business network, again, is, the best way to be able to make sense of the risk that exists in your supply chain. Why? One, because it's a connected community. And two, because you think about the premise. We already have the transactions going, 650 billion plus a spend. We already have hundreds of thousands or a million trusted connected relationships. But that's the first step. But we also think about, now where we can have differential inputs, third-party inputs on types of dimensions. And we think of these risk dimensions or domains of information that matter, whether it's safety, whether it's performance, whether it's innovation, whether it's diversity, whether it's environment, or whether it's financial risk. Any of these domains, whether it's information from Dun & Bradstreet, whether it's information maybe from Made in a Free World, which has, a global slavery index. Whatever these dimensions of information are, we want to bring them in to our applications in the context of the transaction, in the context of the end user. So imagine when you could do a sourcing event and you could be notified of some disruption or some type of risk in your supply chain before you finally award that sourcing event or before you finally sign that contract. Provides a differential level outcome that can only really be delivered because of a business network in the community.
Well, very good. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We've been talking about the news here at Ariba Live and also what to expect from both Ariba and SAP in the coming months. And we learned the latest in the way SAP and Ariba are working together to help innovate with companies and help them thrive in the networked economy. So a big thank you to our guests. We've been joined by Chris Hayden, Vice President of Product Management for Ariba, an SAP company. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much, Dana.
And thanks to our audience for joining this special podcast coming to you from the 2015 Ariba Live Conference in Las Vegas. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Interarbor Solutions, your host throughout this series of Ariba-sponsored BriefingsDirect discussions. Thanks again for listening, and come back next time.